Four dust rose in swirls across the dying light of a crimson evening, the kind of light that stretched long shadows across the town of Whiskey Bend. The wind carried the dry scent of desert sage and secrets untold. Men leaned on porch rails, the clinking of their spurs keeping time with the crackle of the saloon's piano. But all noise faded when he walked by. Sheriff Colton Reeves, the man who refused every kiss in the West. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that had seen too much and a jawline carved from the same stone that built the canyons. His hat tilted low, shadowing a face that looked as though it hadn't known a smile in years. Women watched him pass, whispering in tones that trembled between admiration and pity. Everyone knew his story, or thought they did. They said he'd once been a man of laughter, a lover with a soft hand and a burning heart, until a bullet and betrayal had turned him cold. He lost his bride-to-be in a stagecoach robbery, gone wrong, killed before his very eyes. Since that day, Colton Reeves had made himself a promise: no love, no weakness, no woman. But fate, as it often does, was waiting for its cue. The train from St. Louis arrived late that night, steaming into the lonely depot like a beast out of breath. Among its passengers was a woman whose arrival would rewrite the lawman's quiet existence. Her name was Clara Vale, a journalist, writer, and a dreamer disguised in lace and dust. She stepped down from the train in a simple travel dress, her boots hitting the ground with confidence, though her eyes carried the restless spark of someone searching for something more than safety. She was there to document the West, its outlaws, its heroes, and its heart. She didn't know yet that the West was about to document her. When Clara first saw Sheriff Reeves, he was walking down the boardwalk outside the sheriff's office, his badge gleaming in the dim light. She froze mid-step, her notebook pressed to her chest. There was something about him, his stillness, the way the town seemed to bend around his silence. He looked like a man carrying too many ghosts. And yet, in that moment, she couldn't look away. "Evening, ma'am," he said, his voice low and deep, rough as gravel smoothed by years of solitude. She blinked, flustered. "Good evening, Sheriff. I'm looking for lodging and perhaps a good story." He gave her a long, unreadable look. "Stories'll find you quick enough in Whiskey Bend, whether you want 'em or not." Then he tipped his hat and walked off. That was their first meeting, brief, simple, and unforgettable. But that night, as the wind howled through the empty streets and coyotes called in the distance, Clara wrote her first line about him. "He carries his heart like a loaded gun, dangerous, hidden and aching to be fired." Over the next few days, Clara became a familiar face around town. She visited the saloon, spoke to the blacksmith, and even helped the schoolmarm repair her broken fence. The townsfolk adored. "Then we'll face it together." He looked up sharply. "No, you'll get on that train east. You'll leave tonight." "I won't run," she said firmly. "This ain't your fight, Clara." Her eyes burned with defiance. "It became mine the moment you kissed me." The words hit him harder than a bullet. For a second, he forgot to breathe. Finally, he said quietly, "If anything happens to you, then make sure it doesn't," she interrupted, her hand finding his. "Because if this town's got a lawman worth dying for, it's you." For the first time in years, he smiled, a sad, broken smile that carried both love and fear. The arrival. Dusk fell heavy and blood-red. The sound of hoofbeats thundered through Whiskey Bend as Elias Crow and his men rode in, dust swirling around them like ghosts. Crow himself was a scarred reflection of his dead brother. Cruel eyes, a smile full of venom. He dismounted, cracked his neck, and called out, "Sheriff Reeves, you took my brother. I'm here to take everything you got left." The street fell silent. Colton stepped out, rifle in hand, badge gleaming. "This town's seen enough blood, Crow. Turn around while you can." Crow laughed. "You of all men talking about mercy? You shot Jeb in the dirt. I'm just returning the favor." Clara watched from the saloon balcony, hand clutching her notebook. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from the realization that this was it. The story she'd come west to find was about to end in gunfire and smoke. Colton's voice rang out low. "You want me, Crow? You got me. But leave the town out of it." Crow sneered. "Not today, Sheriff. Today, I burn what you love most." His eyes shifted toward the saloon balcony and Clara, the ambush. The world exploded into chaos. Crow's men opened fire, bullets shattering windows, tearing through the air. Clara ducked, screaming as glass rained around her. Colton dove behind a trough, firing back with steady precision. The townsfolk scattered, the once quiet street turning into a battleground. He picked off 2 of Crow's riders before a bullet grazed his arm. He barely flinched. Pain was nothing new. "Clara!" he shouted. "Get out of here!" But she didn't run. Instead, she grabbed the rifle from behind the bar, aimed with trembling hands, and shot one of the outlaws off his horse. The recoil nearly knocked her down, but she didn't stop. When Colton saw her fighting beside him, something primal surged inside him, a mix of terror and pride. She wasn't just a rider anymore. She was his reason to survive. The gunfight raged until smoke covered the town like fog. Then silence. Crow stood alone, revolver drawn, eyes fixed on the sheriff. "You took my brother, Reeves," he spat. "Now I'll take her." Before Colton could react, Crow aimed at the balcony. The shot rang out. Clara gasped and fell to her knees, clutching her side. "No!" Colton roared, firing 3 shots in a blur. Crow staggered backward, blood blooming across his chest like a dark flower.